A wee bit of a house project. Maybe one episode, probably just one episode, but a little house project for the kitchen. Welcome back to the shop and the channel in the kitchen. So I know I promised a larger project, and it's coming along. It's in the design phase still, so that's coming down the road. Got a couple of house projects I want to do in the meantime. One is this. This is our back of the house key hanger. We have a front of the house key hanger and a back of the house key hanger. It also has, little slots for putting papers and stuff in, but it's not up against the wall. It's kind of off the wall. I can put my hand behind it, and the reason is, for those who recognize it, is this. It's a wall hanger thingy for a phone. This is a phone. It's an RJ11 phone connector, and it's got the hanging bits. And this technology is a gazillion years old. We don't have a landline. I could take this out and blank it off, and that's fine. But if we sell the house, someone might want a landline. I don't know why. So what I'm going to do is build another one of these, and it's going to stand off from the wall. So and up against the wall here, so it hides that, and it won't be sticking out. And it'll have pockets like this, and 3 or 4 hook set for hanging the back of the house keys. So let's go in the shop and get to work on it. The parts of this thingy paper key holder are all 3/8 of an inch. So I've milled a bunch of stock down to 3/8 of an inch for various parts that I'm going to make this out of, but the sides are the most precise ones, and these are the sides, like that. And the next thing I want to do is I want to cut the slots in for these angled pieces of wood, so you can slide things in there. Now, these are 60 degrees, so I figured out the 60 degrees. It took me about 10 minutes to draw it up in AutoCAD, right in a left piece, and another 10 to 15 minutes to import those into VCarve and set the cutting parameters. And of course, I did a test piece. If you can see, there's my diagonals there, 60-degree diagonals, and this is the back and this is the front. So there's a right and there's a left. So I'm going to use the CNC machine to do that. That was the test cut, was on the CNC machine. Let me give you a quick rundown of how I set the machine up to do the cutting for multiple parts, and then we'll just go ahead and let it run. Like I said, I ran a test cut from my VCarve drawing, and the way I set up my CNC wasteboard for doing multiple cuts or gang cutting, like when I do like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 of these heddles for the small looms, I have these screw-in buttons, they're 1/4 and they screw into my wasteboard, and that gives me a place to index the wood every single time. Just take it out, put a new one in. In this case, I take it out, do the right side, take it out, and then do the left side. So let me get this clamped in place, and we'll get it running, and we don't have to watch the CNC do its thing. Workpiece clamped in. This was already set up, so no matter where I move the machine, it'll come back to the 0 point end and start doing the cutting. And it's going to cut the diagonals. And I'm going to cut the right one first, and then I've got another drawing for the left one. So let's do this. I won't say it again, I promise. Ear protection plus tunes. All automatic. Gotta love this thing. Okay, let's do the left one. We don't need to see that. Here we go, left and right. The sides. Now I gotta do all the math to get the spacing correct and everything. I've got 1/4 inch stock that I buy from the local home center. It's Home Depot, Borg, whatever. The poplar boards you can get there, and some of the pine boards you can get in 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch. And I buy that for small projects or whatever. If I have to do a big project, I mill it out myself. But there you go. Now start making other parts for it. There you go. Rabbit's cut. I just ripped them on the table saw. No big deal. The width of this is going to be decided by the back. Whichever I choose the back to be will be the width. And I'm thinking, 8 inches, maybe that a little bit more bigger than the other one. That sets the dimension for everything else, including the length of the dividers. And it was going to be one piece up here across the top to kind of hide that open gap, but I don't need it down here. So let's get busy deciding how wide it's going to be. Stuck them together with some double-sided tape to do a slight embellishment. I'm going to radius the corners, and then I'm going to do a round over on the outside all the way around. Small, not a huge round over, just small round over all the way around. But first I got to do this on the bandsaw, and then I got to do the sanding thing. So let's do that, maybe time lapse. Minor embellishments. So I rounded over on the router table. You see me do that stuff dozens of times. I rounded over the outside edges. So when you're looking, when you're looking at it, it's nice. I'm not going to round over the inside edges. Really, I don't think I need to. Just the outside edges. I'll break those with sandpaper, of course, to make them look so they're not as sharp. But right now, we are now ready for some preliminary assembly. What I mean by that is I'm going to assemble it, glue in the back, fasten the back, put in the dividers, put that all together, and square it up. And then I need to cut pieces to hide parts. Now, I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get to that point. And then also add more material on the bottom, like the other one had, so I can screw in the eye hooks for the keys. Welcome to day 2 of the build. Can you tell? All the important parts are cut out and ready to be stained. Decided not to paint it, but to stain it. I'm going to be using the same black cherry stain that I used on Mara's sewing machine table and this little chair that I restored. But anyhow, first things first, this is all softwood. It's pine. It's open grainy. So I spray some shellac. It's great stuff. And that acts as a sanding sealer, but also prevents, well, it doesn't prevent, but it lessens blotching on soft woods. So, cherry's a blotchy wood. I've used it on cherry a lot. So let's open this up. I need to open this up and stir it up. Oh, get some gloves and stuff, and I can start staining this. I'll show you a quick bit, and then we'll move on to assembly. I'm going to start with the sides, the outside of the sides, because I want the stain to dry before I flip them over and do the other side. This is a gel stain, so you got to stir it up. Because it kind of does a funny gelling or getting firmer, and when you stir it up, it gets less firm. I don't know the chemistry, doesn't matter, as long as it works. So I take a piece of paper towel, and we're going to wipe some on and wipe some off. Wax on, wax off. No, I didn't say that. Parts are pre-finished, and now I'm going to do the assembly. This is just about everything I need except for the hooks. I've got some in my magic hardware supplies. But first thing I want to do is put in these dividers, which go in, because now that I have finish on them, they're a little more snug, so it's easier to put them in place. I don't know if you notice, I've only finished where I need to. The back of it's not going to be seen. Yeah, those are in place like that. And then what I do is put this other side on, put some clamps on it. And once I put the clamps on it, then I can glue and pin the back in place. And then there's two other parts that have to go on it, and I'll show you those as I do them. So this is the difficult part, getting all this to get lined up. There, I've got it where I want it, and I'm going to just clamp it like so, just to get it so it all holds together for me while I slide in, put this more in the middle, like that. So that's that, and now I'm going to test fit the back. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let me go ahead and put some glue in here. So far, I'm going to keep the clamps on it for now. There we go. And wait for this to dry or cure, however you want to talk about glue, PA glue, and then I'll come back and we'll put the remaining parts in place. One of which is too big, but for a reason, because it's going to fit at the top up here. You'll see when I do it. But that's going to cover up the top, so there won't be a gap when you look down from the top and see the gap between the sides, because it stands off from the wall. That'll make more sense when I describe it. It's fighting me. Okay, that'll go on later, but I'll have to cut it to the right width. By the way, if this seems like it's a little bit less glaring than before, I have a light up here, of course, now, and I can turn it on and off depending on what the camera tells me. So let's let this sit, and then we'll finish it off. A couple of hide pieces, hide things pieces to go on. So I've got this gap here. This will be against the wall, and I got a piece of wood that's going to go right in here. It's already been stained. It'll cover that gap up. And at the bottom, where I have an exposed end here, which I didn't let into the bottom, which I really didn't want to, I cut a piece with the correct angle that will fit right in here and hide it, and then we can just put the hooks here for the keys. So let's put those together, and this project should be done. And we're done. So just needs to coat of paste wax to even out some of the finish. The finish, by the way, is spray on shellac. I use the clear, here, let me show you the can again. Bullseye shellac in a can. Stuff works really good. I love shellac. Anyway, so it's a period finish. So I've got it done. Mara has made noises about possibly doing another design of this, something a little different, more colonial, and I'm down with that. I'd love to build another one of these again. Got to put some hooks on it, and now this is smoother here, and it's covered up here. So this project is done. The bigger project I was mentioning earlier is still a little further down the road. I've got something coming up in the yard on the deck I'm going to do. It's not really a woodworking project, but it's something I promised for Mara for a long time. You'll see it when I show it. So until next time, make great things out of wood.